I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I want to talk about delayed gratification. And what is delayed gratification? Delayed gratification is denying yourself the immediate pleasures of now in order to gain or to attain a more permanent pleasure when you achieve a purpose in the future. So it is seeking futuristic pleasure. There is the usual pleasure that will give you a high dopamine surge. You know, dopamine is the happiness hormone. When you think about the pleasure, dopamine goes up. Or as you are enjoying whatever you're enjoying, dopamine shoots up. But there is another kind of dopamine release. It's the dopamine that is released. You derive pleasure and joy from doing something. It enables you to continue doing it because you are anticipating a greater reward, relevance that will generate more lasting dopamine. When I see the schools I have built with my wife, it gives me a more consistent and higher levels of dopamine. I told myself that the language of grace is wow. The language of grace, diligence, and performance is wow. And I set out to achieve that in my life at a certain age. And it has been a consistent experience that I have. It could have been very different. I was reflecting since yesterday that I could have ended up very badly because I grew up in a very dysfunctional background and I was exposed to things that could derail somebody very, very early. But God helped me. That's why I fear God, I reverence God, honor Him, and serve Him. I'm not the best of people. That makes me more grateful to God that it could have been worse off. You won't understand. Now, the Bible says Jesus, even though being equal with God, did not consider it something He will contend for, that He still came and died the death of a common criminal that we might be saved. And because of that, He was given a name that is above every other name, that at the mention of the name of Jesus, every knee must bow and every tongue confess that He is Lord. For the glory that awaited Jesus Christ, He was willing to bear the pain of the cross and the shame of the cross. So, Jesus is our perfect model of delayed gratification. He's going to come back in a glorious way. He's not going to come as a lamb. He's going to become as a king, a warrior, and a conqueror. Now, when He was at the Garden of Gethsemane, the passion that He had was so intense, and the pain, the humidity of the place, the temperature, He was praying. There was a massive release of adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. He was dehydrated. the capillaries under the sweat gland of Jesus Christ burst open and he bled. The blood was to evaporate from his skin to cool him down. And that's why he sweated blood. It's a very rare condition. It is called hematidrosis. Hematidrosis. Drosis, sweat. Hemat, blood, hematidrosis. And the disciples that went with him were sleeping. He could have sought sleep as a temporary measure. He could have avoided the cross and gotten temporary relief and excitement. But he said, nevertheless, let your will be done. Now, remember that there were angels that slept with the daughters of men, and they bore Nephilims and Anakites, and they are chained till today. So the angels could not delay their gratification. Remember the daughters of Lot. The daughters of Lot escaped with Lot to a village. And they said that since there are no men around here, let them get their father drunk and then sleep with their father to raise children. They could have waited. After all, where did they get the alcohol from? Two possibilities. They either carried it from Sodom. Why didn't you leave the alcohol in Sodom and Gomorrah? And if they carried it from Sodom, that means Lot was shacking in Sodom. And that will lead me to another controversy. If Lot was shacking in Sodom and he was called the righteous man, Dr. Apoki. But I suspect that they could have bought alcohol from the nearby communities. Where did they buy alcohol from? There must have been men in those communities. But they slept with their father. And they produced two tribes, Ammon and Moab, that became a thorn in the armpits of the children of Israel. So, delayed gratification. They could have waited. Eve could have waited. Adam could have waited. When Satan came to discuss with them about the fruit, Eve should have told Adam, and Adam would have said, let us wait for God. But Eve, the thing just entered her eye. She saw that it was good for food, good for obtaining knowledge, immediate gratification. And that was what led her into problems. So if Adam had waited until God will come in the evening, he wouldn't have fallen into sin. So, delayed gratification is bearing the present and temporary pressure to gain a more permanent pleasure in the future. The present will put you under pressure, but if you can bear it, you will get a permanent and greater pleasure in the future. It is having a future goal and purpose that makes the pressure of today to pale into insignificance compared to the gain in the future and the relevance that will follow. I remember I was the first bus driver in my school. I was the first gate man. I cleaned toilets. I carried children. I did all kinds of things in order to build that school with my wife. And today, I have a more permanent and greater pleasure and relevance. So it is such that you can derive pleasure from doing what you are doing, knowing that there is a greater future ahead. Now, for you to practice delayed gratification, you must have the following. Number one, faith in God. If you believe in the temporariness of your existence and you think that you need to eat enough now and enjoy now because you don't know what tomorrow holds, you cannot have delayed gratification. And that's why people just rush and do things. They are too much in a hurry. The next thing is that you must have self-awareness. You must know who you are. You must know that your pathway is different from the pathway of another person. You must realize that you must not do everything others are doing because you are unique. Now, never compare yourself with people. If you compare yourself with people, you will be so dissatisfied with yourself and you will be distracted. So, and you must have dedication and intense intentionality and consistency. Intense intentionality. I'm doing this thing purposefully. I'm doing it in such a way that I will not be discouraged. I'm forgetting what is behind. I'm pressing forward towards the mark of higher calling. And so, intense intentionality. You must label your money and activities. When you receive money, because you are practicing delayed gratification, you will label the money. I'm going to use this money to do this. The tiles in my house, I bought them 6 years before I used them. I bought some of those doors 6 years before I used them. The money I had, I said I will use this to buy tiles. And I went to Cook Road in Benin City and bought the tiles. It took me 6 years before I used them. The prices had gone up. So, intense intentionality, label your money. Money is an idiot. It's a slave. If a slave is not given responsibility, it will look for responsibility for itself and it will start playing. So if you don't label your money, the devil has a right to it. And that's why you will see that when you have money and you don't give it responsibility, by the time you look for what you use the money to do, you might not see it. It is because you didn't label it. If you go to the internet and you want to lift the symbol of Coca-Cola, they will say you have done an illegal operation because it's a registered trademark. So when you label your money, you give it a title, you give it ownership, and you cannot, it cannot be tempered with by the devil. And then label your activities. Tell yourself, I am going to do this thing, and this thing is going to produce a result. So label your money. And then learn to prioritize your life. There are many things that will distract you and compete for your attention in modern day society. Somebody told me I should buy iPhone. I should buy an iPhone. And I considered how much the iPhone will cost me. I considered what I needed to do. I considered, in fact, I went to a shopping mall in Iași in Romania to buy a phone. And my son asked me a simple question. The one you are using, is it functional? I said, yes. Is it good enough? I said, yes. Then I found out that what I needed was more of clothing to change to do my videos. And we did the calculation. We decided to buy the clothing. By the time I got home, one of the men that works for me for over nearly 10 years now, I have kept him busy working for me. He is a technician. He does tiling, he does building, plastering, and all. For 10 years, because I build nearly every day, he has not worked for another person. And I've paid him millions. So he bought a brand new phone to give to me. Now, learn to prioritize. This one comes before this. This comes before this. I found out that I needed to open a school instead of running a church. So the school, I knew that I will have parents. The school will give me money. The school will employ people. The school will give me relevance. So learn to prioritize. I discovered that I needed to buy books before buying clothes. If your wardrobe is bigger than your library, your brain might not have enough materials to become outstanding. Anywhere I speak, it is outstanding because I developed my mind. I developed my mind more than my physical pleasures. So, I want to look at sex and delayed gratification. Sex can always wait. Cheap sex is expensive. The pleasure of cheap and reckless sex early in life will lead to pressure in later life. Many beautiful women in my area that answer beauty, they end up as cleaners, they end up as manual workers because their beauty attracted men to them and they could not resist the sexual urges. And that's why you see many beautiful young women. You'll be wondering why they are in such a low status. And for young men, if you indulge in sexual intercourse very early, if God does not help you, you will have babies all over the place that you cannot cater for. That's if you don't die of HIV and you don't have venereal diseases and have oligospermia and azoospermia later in life. You will find out that your sexual escapades will create a lot of responsibilities for you that will put you in distress in old age. And these things start early. In the Walter Mischel's marshmallow experiment in Stanford University, children were given marshmallows, something they could eat. And they told them, if you don't eat this thing, when we come back, we will give you another one. Some children could not resist the temptation, and they ate theirs immediately. Others distracted themselves by not concentrating on the marshmallows. They did other things, and they were observing them with cameras or whatever. And eventually, the ones that did not eat, they gave them a second marshmallow. So waiting for the second marshmallow prevented them, marshmallow maybe like something that looks like cake or whatever, prevented them from going for the immediate gratification. The resultant effect was that when they studied these children for a period of 40 years, they found out that the ones who were able to restrain themselves and to gain a second marshmallow, which is delayed gratification, they ended up better academically. Their marriages were more stable. They were not into drug addiction like the ones who did not have the delayed gratification. They were more successful in life generally. And so that principle of delaying immediate reward to wait for a greater reward, if it follows you in life, it will take you very far. Now, so many people have criticized the marshmallow experiment, but the fundamental truth remains that you don't argue with results. Now, communities where sexual escapades are very common usually end up with many single parents, baby mamas, and baby papas, and poverty level is very high. I come from a segment where the teenage pregnancy rate is highest in my state, Delta Central. And that was a research, I don't know the current figures. And there is a lot of poverty amongst us. If you remove the elites like us and the others, there's so much poverty prevalent in our communities. And then if you combine this with the use of alcohol, what happens is that the income level is very low. And if there is a mineral resource there, what is called the Dutch disease will become prevalent, and there will be violence and communal crisis. So you can understand why there is violence and communal crisis in a lot of the Niger Delta areas. Now, in communities where there is delayed sexual activity, in Bangladesh, they found out that when they gave skills to young girls and revived the textile industry, so that the women were working in the textile industry, they gave them education, teenage pregnancy rate reduced, and Bangladesh, one way or the other, has crawled out of poverty compared to Nigeria. Even though there's still corruption there, even though there was a revolution there recently, and Muhammad Yunus, the founder of the Grameen Bank, is now the prime minister or president, Bangladesh has gone away from where it used to be, left countries like Nigeria behind. You are likely to marry the wrong person, and likely to divorce, and likely to have children with stunted social development if you indulge in reckless premarital sex. I lived in a house with 3 beautiful ladies. They were not my sisters. I was not related to them. I was living there. I could have taken advantage of them, but I kept my mind, my sanity. I eventually met my wife in that household. If I had married any of those girls, I would have gotten into trouble. If I had slept with any of them, I would have gotten into trouble. I wouldn't be here. That does not make me a saint. God help me, because we are badly bad as young men. God help me. A lot of us did not get out of it intact, but God help me. So delayed gratification and entertainment. If you like entertainment, you like to play video games, you like to do whatever, it will distract you from your academics. Entertainment, music. Boy, I listen to Bob Marley. We used to organize the Bob Marley night in the Alexander Brown Hall in the College of Medicine. I watched Whispers. I watched Shalama. I watched Third World. Trija Love. I watched Ramblance Dance Band and all kinds of bands live. But a time came when I got born again. I called myself to order. And I know young men who left their education, carried guitars, became DJs and all that, and they ended up badly when we were young. Situation has changed a little bit. Musicians are earning a lot, but not every musician will become Burna Boy. Not every person that carries guitar will become Davido. Not every person that sings will become Rema. There are many. For every Rema, there are 1 million that wasted their lives. So you love to watch television. A time will come when you are watching television, you are watching successful people. You will end up poor. The television will start watching you after some time. So I didn't sleep on time. I saw men and women dancing, drinking, smoking shisha. Just below my window here, the shisha equipment are there. If you are not careful, you will squander your future. You will squander your energies. You will waste your time and waste your resources. I was listening to the stalker. The stalker went to government college Ughelli and is an Ughelli boy. And he's from the same axis with me in Ofoma axis. And he was saying that if you say, I closed down the 9th club on Friday, I closed down the club, He said it will not prevent the club from opening on Saturday. It's your account that is closed. So entertainment can lead you, if you don't have control, if you don't have moderation, will lead to wastage of resources. Then there's something I call sweat capital. A young boy obtained a loan and opened a printing press. He had secretary, he had this, he had that. They were calling him director. He was bouncing up and down, went and bought a big car. In a few years' time, he was broke. I didn't know that it was a loan that he took. He was broke, took people's money to do printing, and he ran out of town. Now, sweat capital is doing some of the things you are supposed to employ people to do in such a way that you can conserve money so that in future you can employ more people. When I started selling land, just the latest phase I've been buying land and selling land was around 5 years back. I will trek across a pool of water about 100 meters 3 times a day to be able to sell one plot of land. I needed to do that direct marketing and relate with the people. But today, I don't. As I'm doing this video, my manager is going to put pillars in some of the land I bought. He's going to rectify some issues there. Then somebody is coming to check a land that she was referred from overseas. He's going to check it. I don't need to be there. I have a manager. That my manager is building a hotel from the commission, the agency fees I give to him. I have people who manage different aspects of my life. But at one point, I will carry books on this my shoulder. I will carry cassettes on this shoulder. Then I will put my box in between myself or in the front of a motorbike from Rumokoro Park to cross to the other side before boarding a vehicle to Element Junction. Then I will sit in between 3 other passengers at the back of the bus going to Aba. I needed to do that to be able to reach where I am today. That if I want to go anywhere in this country in a convoy, I have enough vehicles, I have enough drivers to carry me. I can afford to rent the vehicles. You know, in those days, I will stop at Elele Alimini. I'm going to preach in Owerri. I will then carry there might not be a vehicle to carry me to Elele, main town from Elele Alimini. I will sit in the back of the motorbike. That's when rain knows it will fall. It will be drizzling, and I will see my medical doctors with Mercedes-Benz, with Nigerian Medical Association sticker on the windscreen. And the devil will come and evangelize me. See, you have lost your life. You say you are going to do ministry and all that. And sometimes I will say, Satan, shut up, in my mind. I did a video or I did a post on silencing I hear voices. So in that, and today, the same road, I passed there as a big boy, but I needed that situation to be able to reach where I needed to go. So sweat capital, delayed gratification, and delayed big manism. Many people want to be directors without having a direction. You want to be a director without having a direction. Manufacture yourself before you market yourself. Don't rush to advertise yourself when you don't have substance. A lot of people display status without knowing their state. Your state is the reality of your life. You are a tenant. Don't go and do POP ceiling in another man's house. Don't go and put a solar panel in another man's house. Build your own house. And so don't rush to buy the latest model when you can invest the money, the reigning model. Don't rush to go and buy it. When you can invest the money and buy a better model in future. I was a tenant. My landlady did not know I was building houses. I was building houses, building school. She was shocked. I will beg her, please reduce the rent. She will say, no. That. Cement has gone up. I will beg her and she will not reduce. I will pay the bill, the rent. But when the husband died, I was the one now buying stuff for her because I had moved. It was me that gave my landlady quick notice. Don't park 3 cars in front of another man's compound. You are a fool. And so you sweat capital and delayed gratification. There are some of these F's that you must not pursue aggressively when you are young. F number 1, fashion. Fashion. You see this wristwatch I'm wearing is a gift. Everything I'm wearing is a gift apart from the eyeglasses. The panties, the singlet, the shoes, gift. When you succeed, what people struggle to buy, people will give them to you as a gift. The good thing is that water drains from mountains into oceans. That's the way the world is. When you have, the more you have, the more people will give to you. So get first before you start displaying fashion. The irony is that most of the things you will spend your youthful energy buying in terms of clothing, whatever, you cannot sell them and regain your money. They will be out of date. The next thing is flashy cars. I see in Igbo land and several other places, there's a documentary somebody used to do. You will see big cars parked by one former politician. Nobody is driving them. They are outdated. They are rusting. Then fantasy. When I was in Dubai, when I was in London, when you are young, instead of investing your money, you are going to look at tall buildings in New York. You are going to look at flashy. Today, when I travel overseas, I travel with profits. My company pays, and it is deducted from my expenses. And the company is not in Nigeria. I'm being managed from overseas. So it is managed overseas. It's a company overseas. It's not registered in my name. But I generate resources that I spend overseas. So delayed gratification, fashion, fantasy, Dorime, Ameno, Dorime, VSOP, blood purifier. Immediately you finish drinking it and you sleep and wake up. Ego, alahago, if the money don't go, so, and you can't hold it back. Then you like fame. Oh, this man can display in parties. I see young Igbo boys displaying money. No wonder some of you are attracting problems to yourself. You made the money from other people's communities. Then you go home, you start throwing money. And then these people are seeing you. They will now antagonize you wherever you are living. Sometimes we Igbos, we attract the problems to ourselves by conspicuous display of wealth instead of being modest like our ancestors. Look at somebody like Coach Charis, my friend. He is the sole importer of Rolls Royce to Nigeria. But he doesn't drive Rolls Royce. He told me that he doesn't have television in his house. But his children, they stayed there for a time. And today he said one of his sons, the television is as big as a wall. If you see Coach Charis, a very modest person. So if you like fame, then you have too many friends, you will be poor. Too many friends, you will be poor. One of the things I resolved when I got to Ughelli was that I was coming from Aba to Ughelli, that I will not make friends. I will only associate with people who can add value to my life. So all this party here, burial here, I was not attending. Imagine I employ more than 100 people in one school. And I have another school. I preach in several churches. If I attend all the burials and all the invitations, I will not have time for my life. So most times I don't go. I can send money. I cannot spend my time and spend my money at the same time. I will send money to you and I will create more money that will give me profit. After all, not be me kill your papa. The next thing is if you love food too much, you will be poor. I'm a naturally fat person. You can see my high cheekbones and you can see how dry my skin is. It is not because of moisture. It is because there are no fat cells under the skin. And so if I want to, yesterday I ate once. I'm not going to eat breakfast. Now I've told my host that the money for the breakfast should be converted to lunch so that when I eat lunch, I will go to the marriage ceremony. I don't eat in public places. I don't drink anything in public places. That might just be the only meal I will eat today. And I'm healthy. My sugar level is very normal. I am healthy. I still look smart. So, delayed gratification with food. You will eat your future away. If you are selling cement and a bag of cement has a profit of 100 naira, if you eat 300 naira per meal, 900 naira a day, in 100 days, you will finish the profit of a trailer load of cement. And so you will start looking, you go for prayer and fasting and be shaking your head like a concrete mixer. You need to use your brain to practice delayed gratification. The next thing is relationships. When you relate with people, don't think of what you will immediately gain. I gave books to a pastor. He took some books from me. And he didn't bring the money on time. It was just 40,000 naira. And I wanted to get agitated for him to bring the money. It's my church pastor. Something was restraining me. And he eventually brought the money. But do you know that he became the director of administration of a big international church? And when they needed guest speaker, he invited me. One time he made one big agbada dress for me. When I want to behave like a big man, I occasionally wear it. And he made that dress. That dress and everything that he has done in my life is more than 40,000 naira. A friend of mine, I bought a property for him, 25 million. I was to get maybe 1.25 million from him, 1.25 million from the other buyer. But I refused to collect any agency fee. Do you know that that individual pays for my radio program now? He gave me 2 cars. He has been of enormous benefit to me because of delayed gratification. If my eyes were poking up and down just to get that money, I wouldn't have gone far. And I have done business with him. He has come to trust me. The next thing is when you do business, the Bible says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Gain is different from profit. Gain is immediate, short-lived. Profit is long-term, more diverse. If I sell properties and if I cheat my client, he won't recommend another person. I did a transaction recently because I gave my word. And the people were bought from overseas. I am losing 9 million naira on top of the properties because I relocated them to a more expensive place. But because I have kept my word, but because people in the diaspora don't trust Nigerians, I have made sure I gave them the same quantity of land, and I lost 9 million naira that was to come to me. It will give me greater profit in future. Somebody from South Africa bought land from me. I'm going to ensure that he gets his profit and gets his money back in a greater dimension. These are the things I want to share with you concerning delayed gratification. Be patient with God. Be yourself. Don't compare yourself with people. I remain the area grandfather, Dr. Charles Apoki. I want you to comment on what you have learned from this video below. Share it with others. Subscribe to this channel. I have properties for sale. I have a webinar coming up in October. If you want to join my mentorship group, send a message to +234 80 21 21 92 62. For counseling and for any other information, the number is +234 80 21 21 92 62. God bless you.